We'll start the lecture within 5 minutes. Let all the students join. Okay, so we will wait for 5 minutes till all join. Okay, so in the morning we have covered up to this point that why there is a need of pre-stressed concrete. Okay, so we have covered those points, that is the strength about the concrete and all the other aspects we have already covered. Okay, 3 points. Now we will talk about pre-stressed concrete. Our last point was in the pre-stressed concrete member or above weaknesses and defects are made up. So we have discussed in first hour in very detail about what are the weaknesses in the concrete and what is pre-stressed concrete. Okay, so now we will moving further regarding the pre-stressed concrete. Some points are there that are written over here. Next points. So that we will discuss now. So here a pre-stressed concrete member is essentially a concrete member only, and steel reinforcement are considered as a necessary device to supply the pre-stress to the concrete. This I have already told you. In the internal pre-stressing, we have discussed that we give the pre-stressing, we induce the stress into the tendon. Okay, that is into the steel, and through steel it is transferred to the concrete. What is our main intention? Our intention is to give the stress to the concrete. We want to introduce the stress in the concrete, but to whom we are giving the stress? We are providing it to steel, and through steel it is going to the concrete. Okay, so steel is act as a supply media. Okay, or we can say it is a necessary device for supply. Okay, it acts as a media. So that is what this is told here in this point. A pre-stressed concrete member is essentially a concrete member only, and the steel reinforcement are considered as the necessary device to supply the pre-stress to concrete. Okay. Necessary device to supply the pre-stress to the concrete. The next point is to get the maximum advantage of pre-stressed concrete members, it is necessary to use high strength concrete and also high strength steel. Okay, here tensile it is written high strength steel. It should be like that. Okay, here it should be. This should not be the sentence. High. It should be strength. High strength steel. Okay, to get the maximum advantage of pre-stressed concrete members, it is what is necessary? It is necessary to use high strength concrete, first thing. And second thing is that also high strength steel. Okay, so you should use the high strength concrete plus high strength steel. Okay, remember this to get the maximum advantage of pre-stressed concrete. Next is concrete used for pre-stressed work should have a cube strength of 35 Newton per mm square for post-tension system and 45 Newton per mm square for pre-tension system. Okay. So concrete which is used for the pre-stressed work should have a cube strength of 35 Newton per mm square. Okay. For post-tension system. Now what is post-tension system? What is pre-tension system? That we will discuss in the next bit, in this unit only, in the next bit. So the cube strength. So minimum this should be the cube strength. For post-tension, you should use the M35 concrete minimum. And for pre-tension system is there, then you should use M45 concrete minimum for the pre-stressed concrete. Okay, so these are the 3 points which gives you some description about pre-stressed concrete. Okay, so above 3 points tells us that why we need the pre-stressed concrete. The middle one point was, it says that these above weaknesses are made up in the pre-stressed concrete. Then next 3 points from here, this point 1, 2, and 3. These 3 points tells us about the pre-stressed concrete. Little bit more information about it. Okay, and here this question can be asked for the MCQ also. This remember this is important. For concrete used for pre-stress work should have a cube strength of 35 Newton per mm square for post-tension system. It can be asked for MCQ. And 45 Newton per mm square for pre-tension system. Okay.
सर M20 कॉन्क्रीट आपण वापरू शकत नाही का मग?
नाही वापरू शकत. वापरू शकतो न वापरायला काय नाही, वापरू शकतो पण तेवढी इफिशियन्सी मिळत नाही.
ओके,
तेवढी इफिशियन्सी मिळत नाही. वापरायला काय आपण मग आता नाउ यू कॅन सी वी डिझाईन आवर रेसिडेन्शियल ब्लॉक्स दॅट M20 ग्रेड. बरोबर आहे. बीम्स, कॉलम, स्लॅब नॉर्मली वी यूज M20 कॉन्क्रीट. ओके, मग काय M15 मध्ये पण करू शकतोच की आपण, M10 मध्ये पण करू शकतो. But why we are not doing? Because the strength is less. The basic purpose for pre-stressing the concrete is to increase the strength. No, now it is in your hand. If you use the mixed design of higher strength, then it will contribute to the increase in strength only. समजतंय? तुम्ही जर M20 वापरलं आणि त्याला प्रिस्ट्रेस केलं तर ते प्रिस्ट्रेस होऊन जाईल M35, M40 ची स्ट्रेंथ ते देईल, M50 पर्यंत जाईल जास्तीत जास्त. Okay, but if you start with M35 and M45 only, then you imagine that its strength is how much it is increased after giving the pre-stressing. Okay, समजते काय सांगतोय ते?
Yes, sir.
So that is why this sentence is important. Here what they have told us that to get the maximum advantage of pre-stressed concrete members, it is necessary to use high strength concrete and high strength steel. Okay. लोअर तुम्ही यूज केलं, समजा मी M10 यूज केलं आणि मग मी प्रिस्ट्रेस केल्यावरती त्याची स्ट्रेंथ M40 जरी झाली तरी मला त्याचा उपयोग नाही ना, कारण M40 मी ऑलरेडी बनवू शकतो. ओके, सो दिस इज द थिंग. So now moving to the next point. So here is the classification of pre-stressed concrete members. Okay. Here is the classification of pre-stressed concrete members. So basically 3 categories are there. Okay, based on these 3 points they are classified. Okay, these 3 are the points on which their classification is done. First is externally and internally pre-stressed members. Okay, so classification based on classification is done on this point: externally and internally pre-stressed members. Okay. Second is linear and circular pre-stressing, linear or circular pre-stressing. Third is pre-tensioning and post-tensioning. Just now we have seen that last point: 35 strength and 45 strength, pre-tensioning and post-tensioning. That we will see now. So here you can see externally and internally pre-stressed member. What is the exact difference between these? That I am going to tell you. See, basic difference, एकच डिफरन्स सांगतो, नीट लक्षात ठेवा. तेच सांगितलं याच्यात, फक्त सेंटेन्सेस लिहिलेले आहेत काय केलेले आणि काय नाही. Just remember the basic difference. Whenever we talk about the externally pre-stressed members, in the externally pre-stressed members, the member is already casted. Okay, listen carefully. Member is already casted, reinforcement is already provided, a member is there in front of you. Okay, this member, it is already casted, steel is placed, concrete is placed, it is hardened, it is getting its strength. Okay, steel is concrete is hardened, it is already casted. Okay, and then we apply the pre-stressing force on this member directly. Then we apply the pre-stressing force on this member directly. Okay, या member वरतीच आपण apply करतोय pre-stressing force. Okay, so that is called as external pre-stressing. That is called as external pre-stressing. And in the previous lecture, whatever I have explained you, that tendon is there, it is outside that formwork, and then we apply the stress, and stress is introduced in the steel, and then it is transferred to the concrete. That is called as internally pre-stressed members. So what is the basic difference? In external pre-stressed members, you directly applied the pre-stressing force on the member. And internally pre-stressing means what? You are introducing the stress in the steel, but your objective is to introduce in concrete, but you are introduced in steel, and steel is transferring that to the concrete. Okay, that are called as internally pre-stressed members. These are the, in these 2 categories, the pre-stress is divided. Okay, based on first point. So we will see some description of that. So now here you can see a diagram is there. So I will read one by one and we will also see the diagram. A member can be pre-stressed by external reactions offered by the rigid abutments is called as external pre-stressing. Okay, so this is abutments. I have already told you abutments and bulkheads are the 2 words which are used for the huge support. So abutment, normally you see that word in the case of bridges. Okay, ब्रिजेसला आहे किंवा डॅम्सला पण एंडचे जे पिलर्स असतात त्यांना कधी कधी म्हणलं जातं अबटमेंट्स. ओके, सो दोज हु आर हेवी सपोर्ट्स, दोज आर कॉल्ड एज द अबटमेंट्स. Okay, or very rigid supports. So now here you can see this is the pre-stressed member. Okay, it is supported over here, some support is given. This is the jack assembly. This is not the exact drawing. Okay, this is some symbolic drawing which is shown over here. Jack assembly is actually a big assembly. Okay, this is the symbolic drawing of jack assembly. You can see that something is attached over here and same is attached at this end. Okay, fixed at the abutments. And then in the external pre-stressing, instead of providing the tendons from which pre-stress can be applied, the necessary pre-stressing force can be applied by compressing the members against by jacking against the abutments, as shown in above figure. Simple point. Here it is mentioned that here it is clear in this point. See, if you see over here, in the external pre-stressing, instead of providing the tendon from which pre-stress can be applied, so instead of providing the pre-stressing force to the tendon, okay, the necessary pre-stressing force can be applied by compressing the member by jacking against the abutments. Okay, so from here it is applied. So you can say that from here. See, from here it is applied. This is called as jacking. This is the force which is applied from this end. Okay, to do the pre-stressing. So that is what they are saying us here. The necessary pre-stressing force can be applied by compressing the member. This member is compressing by jacking. This is the jack. Jacking against the abutment. These are the abutments. Okay. So in between the abutments and the member, jack is provided, and this it is the compressed. Okay. And this is shown in the figure above. So this is the figure of this. So this all is called as the external pre-stressing. This is the external pre-stressing. Now, what is the internal pre-stressing? See, in a single two three words, it is given about internal pre-stressing. A member can be pre-stressed by tensioning the tendons is called as the internal pre-stressing. See here where you are giving the tension. Okay, a member can be pre-stressed by tensioning the tendons. Okay, so here you are applying that pre-stressing force to the tendon. Okay, and that is called as the internal pre-stressing. You are applying the force to the tendon, that is internal pre-stressing, and here you are directly applying the necessary force to the member. Okay, so that is external pre-stressing. So this is the first classification: internal pre-stressing and external pre-stressing. Then if you move further, next is the linear and circular pre-stressing. Okay, we will see the linear and circular pre-stressing. So here what they have mentioned, so here in the notes you can see the term circular pre-stressing is applied to the pre-stressing of circular structures like cylindrical tanks, silos and pipes. Cylindrical tanks, silos and pipes. So for this the circular pre-stressing is done. Just a 1 minute, important call. Hello sir. Okay, so linear or circular pre-stressing, as you know by the name, it is clear that circular pre-stressing is nothing but it is applied to the circular members. Linear pre-stressing is for the linear members. Okay, so here the term circular pre-stressing is applied to the circular structures, that is the cylindrical tanks, silos and pipes, etc. In a case the tendons are provided in the form of rings. Okay, most of the main reinforcement, we are talking about main reinforcement in this water tank, cylindrical tank or silos and in pipes, the main reinforcement is provided in the form of rings. Okay, so that is your circular pre-stressing. The linear pre-stressing is a term applied to the pre-stressing of the straight members such as beams, slabs, columns. You know that all these members are straight members. So linear and circular from shape, this point is concerned about the shape. Okay, if the structure is circular, it comes under circular pre-stressing. If it is linear, then it is linear pre-stressing. Okay, this one is the important pre-tensioning and post-tensioning. Okay. So from the word, you can judge this. What is pre-tensioning and what is post-tensioning? Pre means before and post means after. Okay. So here what is done in pre-tensioning now, we applied the tensioning to the tendon. Okay. Before pouring out the concrete. Before pouring the concrete into that, what we can say, formwork. That is nothing but pre-tensioning. In simple words, I am telling you. And what is the post-tensioning? What we do in the formwork, the steel tendon is there, placed at the bottom. We pour the concrete. We allow the concrete to harden. Okay. And once the concrete is hardened, then we apply tensioning to the tendon. And that is called as the post-tensioning. Post means after pouring of concrete. Pre means before pouring of concrete. Okay. Remember this. A very easy point is there. So now we will see what are the points given over here in the pre-tensioning. First, we will take the pre-tensioning. So here, in a pre-tensioned members, the tendons are tensioned even before the casting of concrete. That I have already told you. Okay. One end of the tendon is secured to an abutment. Then how it is tensioned, that is they have explained further. Okay, some diagram may be also there. See here it is the diagram, how it is tensioned. First, we will read the description and then we will see in the diagram. So here, one end of the tendon is secured to an abutment. It means what? One end of the tendon is fixed with the abutment. Okay, secured to an abutment, or it is fixed with the abutment. It is tied to that abutment. While the other end of the reinforcement is pulled by using a jack. Okay, so at the other end, this jack assembly is fitted. Then it is fixed to the another abutment. The concrete is now poured. Okay, so here you can see the assembly. These two are the abutments. Okay, on one side the jack is there, and on other side jack is not there. Only this tendon is tied to the abutment. Okay, and with the help of this jack, it is pulled. Then next, what they have told us, after this, then the concrete is now poured. After the concrete has cured and hardened, the end of the reinforcement is released from the abutment. So after this tendon is tensioned, okay. So after it is being given the pre-stressing force, applying the pre-stressing force, then concrete is poured. Okay. So then concrete is poured. So it is pre-tensioning. आधी tension दिलं मग concrete टाकलं. Okay, so it is pre-tensioning. So then the concrete is poured over here. Okay, then the concrete is poured, and then we release these wires from the abutments. Wires, tendons, bars, कुठलाही शब्द वापरला जातो. Okay, त्यामुळे त्याच्यामध्ये कन्फ्युजन होऊ नका. डोंट गेट कन्फ्युज बिटवीन दिस डिफरंट वर्ड्स. वायर्स म्हणलं की इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशनची वायर असं इमॅजिन करू नका. Okay, wires, tendons, bars, these words can be used normally. So after the pouring of concrete, first we have tensioned the wire. Then after we have poured the concrete. Then we allow the concrete to get settled, hardened. then we release the ends from the abutments and then we cut it down. Okay, that is what it is written over here. See here. So the concrete is now poured. After the concrete has cured and hardened, the ends of the reinforcements are released from the abutments. Okay, after the concrete has hardened, the ends are released. The reinforcement is now tends to regain its original length and it's compress the concrete surrounding to it by bond action. Okay, once you have applied tension the wire or tension the cable, after releasing it, what you know, steel is a ductile material. Okay, you know that steel is the ductile material. You have also studied the stress strain curve of steel. Okay, mild steel चे तुम्ही स्टडी केलेले आहे. त्यानंतर HYSD bars चं पण तुम्ही स्टडी केलेला आहे. Stress strain curve and all these things. Okay, so now I'm not going into the detail of that, the property of steel that you have already know. Just whatever I am telling, what I want to tell you over here is the reinforcement is now tends to regain its original length. Okay, after पहले tension दिया ना उधर. Now once you release, the steel will try to come to its original shape and now that compressive force is getting developed in the steel. Are you getting my point? And that force is the pre-stressing force. समजतंय का? हे जे आपण दरवेळेला दाखवतो ना, see, I will draw the diagram so that you will not get confused. See, this is your beam. Then this is the steel bar. This is the steel bar. Okay. Firstly, तुम्ही काय केलं? You have tensioned it. You have given tension. Tension म्हणजे मी arrow दाखवतो तुम्हाला. See, we have given tension. Okay. Let this tension be P. Let this tension be P. And it is tied. Imagine that it is tied to the abutment. This type of system is there, which is shown here in the diagram. Okay, which is shown here in the diagram. Let us imagine that what is shown here in the diagram, this type of system is there. This is the reinforcement, this is the bar. Now the force is applied again by using jack. We are tensioning it. Okay, once you release this, what will happen? Now after the application of this tensile force, there will be some elongation in the steel. बरोबर आहे का? तुम्ही जर दोन्ही बाजूने ह्याला असं ओढलं तर ह्याच्यामध्ये काय होणार आहे? इलॉंगेशन होईल का नाही? There will be some elongation. Okay, so once you release this, now what I will do? I will cut down these forces, cut down this wire. Now what will happen? Now what will happen if you cut down it? Then now this steel, whatever the elongation is there, whatever the stretching is there, it will try to regain its original size. But ते जेव्हा त्याची ओरिजिनल साईज रिगेन करण्याचा प्रयत्न करते तर त्यावेळेला कसला फोर्स असणार आहे? ऑलरेडी एक्सटेन्शन झालेलं आहे. आता ते जवळ येणार आहे म्हणजे फोर्स कसला असणार आहे? कंप्रेसिव्ह असणार आहे. म्हणून आपण प्रिस्ट्रेसिंग फोर्स दाखवताना नेहमी असं दाखवतो एरो. आता तुम्ही कन्फ्युज होताल एक्झाम मध्ये, सर तर टेन्शन म्हणते एरो तर असं दाखवते. ओके, तर एरो आपण असा दाखवतो. दिस इज द प्रिस्ट्रेसिंग फोर्स. I hope now it is understood to you, pre-stressing force. Why it is like that? Once you are tensioning the tendon, once the tendon is tensioned, okay, after cutting down, that tensioning force is removed, but there is a elongation in the length of the steel. Now that steel or tendon will try to regain its original shape. आधी जेवढं होतं तिथे यायचं ते प्रयत्न करणार. Okay, if it is and it is, of course, it is within the elastic limit. If the limit is exceeded, still steel is having ductility property, so it will try to compress, it will try to come to its original shape. And during that process, the forces, if you are showing the compressive forces, then this is the direction of the force, and this we called it as a pre-stressing force. Okay, समजलं? म्हणताना आपण टेन्शनिंग म्हणतो पण एरो असे का दाखवतो नेहमी, हे कळालं का? ओके, आफ्टर इट कटिंग डाउन इट विल ट्राय टू कंप्रेस, सो दॅट इज नथिंग बट द प्रिस्ट्रेसिंग फोर्स. अँड दिस इज then this whatever the stress is getting developed, it is transmitted to concrete. Okay, the reinforcement is now tends to regain its original what we can say length, and it compresses the concrete surrounded by it by bond action. Okay. The pre-stress is thus transmitted to the concrete entirely by the action of bond between the reinforcement and surrounding concrete. Okay, so this pre-stress is then transferred. This force is called as pre-stress force. So this whole it is called as the pre-tensioning. This is nothing but it is pre-tension. Okay. Now we will have some discussion about this post-tensioning. Okay. Post-tensioning. Now post-tensioning, what is the post-tensioning?
सर
Ha.
सर आपल्याला कॉन्क्रीटची स्ट्रेंथ कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह स्ट्रेंथ टॉपच्या फायबर मध्ये जास्त पाहिजे ती, परंतु आपण बॉटमच्या फायबर मधनच का ते सप्लाय करतोय ट्रान्सफर
म्हणजे?
करत असताना. आता कॉन्क्रीट हे वर टॉप फायबर मध्ये कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह स्ट्रेंथ मध्ये फेल होणार ना. आपण टेन्साइल स्ट्रेंथ
आपल्याला काय करायचं माहिती का, बेसिक काय करायचं माहिती का तुम्हाला, आपल्याला we want to counteract the stresses which are developed by the loads, and those stresses are direct stress and bending stress. Okay, now what will happen here, if you see, suppose now this is your beam. स्ट्रेंथ वाढवायची म्हणजे स्ट्रेंथ वाढणार कशी, जर तुमची ते आलेला जो लोड आहे हे बीमचं हेच मटेरियल आणि हेच सगळं मिळून जर तो स्ट्रेस जर काउंटरॅक्ट करू शकले. नाउ सी आय विल ड्रॉ द टेंडन सो दॅट यू विल अंडरस्टँड. First, our first objective is, this is our first objective. Now I will draw here, this is the neutral axis. Okay, this is the neutral axis. Now you know that load is acting downward. Load is acting downward. Load is acting downward like this. Okay. Now how is the bending moment profile? If I draw the bending moment profile of this due to this load, how will be the profile? It will be like this. This will be the profile. Am I right? Okay, it will be like this. So here it is a compression, here it is tension. Now see, if the tendon, मग बॉटमच्या टेंडनला काय करायचं त्याचं आन्सर सांगतोय, लक्ष द्या. So now see, tension is at this level, tendon is at the bottom. Okay, tendon is at the bottom. Now if you see the pre-stressing force, I have already explained you why we show this force like this. This is your pre-stressing force. This is your pre-stressing force. Okay. And this is here it is P. P. And this is the neutral axis which is at a distance, suppose now E. This is the eccentricity E. Now what will happen? See. Now this is the bending moment profile I am getting. This is the neutral axis ह्याच्यामधनं गेलेला असणार आहे. This is the stress profile also. Now I want to counteract this. Okay. Now this is my condition. If I apply the pre-stress at the bottom tendon, then this is the condition. Then what will it try to do? Imagine करा हे तुमचं टेंडन आहे, मी इथनं याला कंप्रेस करतोय, इथनं कंप्रेस करतोय, तर ते असं होईल का नाही? If I try to compress it, what will happen? It will bend like this. Okay, the profile of the tendon will come like this. So it will.
आपण आता जर ही कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह स्ट्रेस जर आता अप्लाय केला असं टेंडन करून, तर त्यावेळेस ती खाल्लं स्पेसिंग कमी असल्यामुळे तो खालच्या बाजूला वरच्या बाजूला जाईल असं कसं आहे फिक्स होईल? खालच्या बाजूला स्पेसिंग कमी म्हणल्यावर खाल्ल्या बाजूला बी तो होऊ शकते ना?
नाही 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 नाही, जात नाही ते खाल्ल्या बाजूला. त्याची अरेंजमेंट जी असते ना, इट इज फिक्स्ड फर्स्ट. Okay, it is get embedded in the beam. How it is going at the, तुम्ही ह्याचा सीजीचा कॉन्सेप्ट शिकला नाही का? Always we take the centroid. Whatever the calculations we do, it is always with respect to the neutral axis. Always we consider the centroid. When you consider the topmost tendon, then your centroid is downward. Now see, if I rotate this force about this centroid, about the neutral axis, its direction will be like this. Its direction will be like this. Okay, so and if you take the tendon at the top, first thing is that in the huge girders or in the girders, if we see, we always don't design the topmost reinforcement in the beams or girders. Okay, those are the reinforcement which we have provided for either for earthquake loading as per the norms of the earthquake IS code, and second thing is that we provide that for anchoring the stirrups. The first reason is we don't design that, first thing. Second thing is that we design the reinforcement at the bottom. And third thing is that when you take the moment of the force which is acting on the tendon about the neutral axis, okay, about the neutral axis, then you will get the direction. Okay, now your centroid is here and your force is below that. So it will like this will be your direction. This will be your direction. It will try to uplift that. First load will try to what we can say down, load will give the sagging action. This load which is acting vertically downward like this, load which is acting vertically downward like this, it will try to sag. Now here is the tendon. Okay, here is the tendon, and now suppose your neutral axis is there somewhere at this center. So that load will try to uplift this. This load try to uplift this, and it will uplift it like this. So whatever the stresses which are going in this direction, automatically we are counteracting them by providing this type of stressing. Okay, so that is the reason it is doing at the bottom. These are the 2-3 points. Okay, always consider the neutral axis as our main axis. Okay, and always we take some reference while doing this. Okay, तुम्ही हे पण काढता ना strain diagram. Okay, you always draw the strain diagram. Have you seen any strain diagram? Strain diagram म्हणजे ते तुम्ही डमरू काढल्यासारखं काढता बघा. स्टॉपवॉच असतात बघा ठेवलेले जातात माती पडत असते तशी डायग्राम असते strain diagram. Okay, compressive strain, tensile strain. At neutral axis the strain is 0. So at the neutral axis we keep everything 0. We always take our neutral axis as our reference axis. So whatever the moment, whatever the stress calculation, whatever the strain calculation, neutral axis is our base axis. So always we consider all the moments and all the stresses about the neutral axis only. Okay, and this is the assumption also. You can read this that your direct and bending stresses assumptions and the neutral axis. Okay, some basic, so that you will come to know that everything we consider from neutral axis, even though that your distance of the extreme fiber y m by I f upon y e by r, y, that y quantity also we take it from reference axis. Now y top, y bottom. Okay, y top from neutral axis to the topmost fiber, y bottom from neutral axis to bottommost fiber. So our reference axis is the neutral axis. So only think everything by considering the neutral axis. Okay, मग तसं तर व्हायला भरपूर गोष्टी होते, but we have made certain assumptions in the engineering. In the engineering, certain things are done based on the certain assumptions. आता मी तुम्हाला म्हणतोय की now this support is the simple support. Is it really simple support or this support is the fixed support? Is it really totally fixed support? कधीच निघणार नाही का support? Okay, we study simple support, fixed support, roller support. Now we see that in the residential buildings the joints are there. We say that this is a fixed joint. Okay, पण ती बिल्डिंग जर पडली तर ह्याचा अर्थ काय? एक तर तुम्ही सांगताय ती थिअरी चुकीची आहे, हे फिक्स जॉईंट नव्हतं म्हणून हे पडलं, नाहीतर याच्यामध्ये काहीतरी पार्शल फिक्सिडिटी असणार आहे. इट इज नॉट फुल्ली फिक्स्ड. Okay, so something assumptions also made and based on that also some theories are evaluated. आता actually आपण ज्या वेळेला when we always consider this sagging, this hogging, we say that the every fiber on the or every molecule on the neutral axis neither experiences compression nor experiences tension. But is it practically true? तुम्हाला डोळ्याला दिसतंय ना ते बेंड व्हायला लागलेलं आहे. Okay, that curve is there, concave or convex, whatever. Okay, but still we consider that. So that type of thing is there everywhere. You have to consider this neutral axis into your mind. Okay, so now moving further on this. So post tensioning, so I will read the points. A post tension member is a one in which reinforcement is tensioned after the concrete has fully hardened. So that also I have already told you. The beam is first cast, leaving the ducts for placing the tendons. So first of all, the beam is casted and some places is leave there. Okay, some vacant hole or a tube is placed over there. Okay, to reserve some space for that tendon. The tendon is placed after the tensioning. Okay, there. So now the ducts are made by leaving the steel tubes in the concrete. When the concrete has hardened and developed its strength, the tendon is passed through the duct. Okay. So first what you will do, this is your beam, you have kept a hollow tube in this. Where you want to place the tendon now, at that point you kept hollow tube. Okay. And you poured the concrete. Formwork is there. Instead of placing the tendon directly, you made one duct, and in that duct you keep the hollow steel tube, and then you poured the concrete. Okay. And once the concrete is hardened and develop its strength, the tendon is passed through that duct. Okay, then the tendon is passed. Okay, so here you can see the diagram. This is the duct, and from here the tendon is passed. Okay, and the same thing is there at one end. It is anchorage. Anchorage म्हणजे एका एंडला त्याला सपोर्ट दिले किंवा अँकर्ड केलेलं आहे. अँकर्ड म्हणजे तुम्हाला माहिती शिप इज ऑल्सो हॅव्हिंग anchors. So it is anchored at the one end, and at the other end jack is provided. And you know now from morning, since I'm saying jack now it is habitual to you. Jack, it is used to tension that bar. Okay, for that purpose jack is used. So now when the concrete has hardened and developed its strength, this we have read already. One end is provided with an anchor, and other end is fixed to the this jack. Okay, so one end is anchored over here, other end is here. At the jack is up. What we can say, jacking the end. That is called as jacking the end. The other end is jacked. So now, after the tendon is subjected to the desired stresses, the end of the tendons are also properly anchored to the concrete. Okay, also properly anchored to the concrete means it is cut it down, and properly it is here you can see in this diagram, it is properly there into the concrete. And then here the distribution plate is provided at each end to avoid the crushing of concrete due to excessive bearing stress. So this distribution plate is nothing but it is also called as a bearing plate. It is provided almost everywhere in pre-tensioning, in post-tensioning, or anywhere where you need to apply the stress, force. Okay, force, if you want to apply this bearing plate is provided. The purpose of providing this bearing plate is the stress or force, whatever you are providing, it should be uniformly distributed over the larger area. Okay, one simple example I will tell you. You know the column. Okay, you can the slab, the load of slab is coming on the beam. The load of beam is coming to the column. Why we don't directly raise the column on to the ground? Is it also the possible? No. Instead of making the foundation and footing and doing a lot of what we can say, it is expensive also foundation. So instead of that, now why we don't think that we can directly raise the column on the soil? What will happen if we try to do like that? The diagonal cracks will get developed in the column. As the column is a slender member, its length is high as compared to its cross-sectional dimensions. Okay, and also that column will try to penetrate through the soil. Okay, that is the punching action will be also there, and there is a huge upward reaction from the soil on the column surface. Okay, upward reaction. And upward reaction, how do we calculate? Upward reaction, you know the formula, total load divided by area. We consider the area of cross section, and if the column is having a small area of cross section, then if the denominator quantity is low, see, we know that what is the formula? It is load divided by area. असंच काढतो ना आपण soil intensity सुद्धा. Intensity pressure, it is nothing but stress. Okay, then that is the area. If the area is less, if denominator is less, the soil pressure quantity is high, and high pressure will be there on that column, and 101% it will fail. That is why what we do, we rest that column onto the footing. And footing चं बघा तुम्ही cross section dimension मोठा असते footing चं. The cross section dimensions of the footing are larger, 2 meter by 3 meter, 2.5 meter by 4 meter, like that. These also dimensions I am telling you, very small dimensions, very huge dimensions are there cross section. What is the purpose of that? Because we want to when that load is going down, we want to distribute that load on larger area, so that the resulting soil pressure from the soil will get decreased. Okay, and to provide it on the larger area, we provide that footing. Now the same work, हे मी तुम्हाला का सांगितलं, the same work is done by this distribution plate over here. Here is the point of distribution plate. Okay, the work is done by the distribution plate, or it is also called as a bearing plate. Okay, it is also called as the bearing plate. समजलं? त्यासाठी तिथे प्लेट लावलेली असते. नॉर्मली सगळीकडेच वापरले जाते टू इव्हनली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट द लोड. So the basic what you need to take from this is pre-tensioning and post-tensioning before, after. एवढंच लक्षात ठेवा. Pouring of concrete. Now, next point here. Now there are 4 methods which we are going to see over here. Okay, now this is the theoretical part. This is the procedure. These are the names of the scientists for Hoyer system, Freyssinet system, Gifford-Udall system, Lee-McCall system. These are some of the persons who have worked here. What are the different methods of pre-stressing? आता मी तुम्हाला pre-stressingचं लॉजिक सांगितलं की आपण काय करतो नेमकं. मग त्याच्या मग वेगवेगळ्या लोकांनी वेगवेगळ्या हे हुडकून काढल्यात मेथड्स. जसं 4-wheeler, if you use 4-wheeler to move from one point to another point, but nowadays there are many 4-wheelers are there of different companies, but all do the same thing. We use them in a traveling for move from one place to another. The same thing is there. I have told you what is the pre-stressing and how we apply the pre-stressing to the concrete. But there are several methods of pre-stressing, or these are called as the systems of pre-stressing, and these are one of the important systems. Okay, so that we will see these systems in detail. MCQs will be asked on these systems. MCQ questions will be there. No theoretical question will be asked in the examination that define Freyssinet system, explain Gifford-Udall system. These types of questions will not be there in the examination. Okay, you can refer also previous year's question. So now we will see this. Systems of pre-stressing, pre-tensioning and post-tensioning. Again, it is divided into 2 categories. Okay, for pre-tensioning, now this is Hoyer system. The Hoyer is the name of a scientist who have invented this. This is also called as long line system method. This is also called as long line method. In MCQ, sometimes they don't mention it like a Hoyer system, they mention it like a long line method. So you should know that Hoyer system is having another name, that is long line method. In post-tensioning systems, the Freyssinet system, Gifford-Udall system, Lee-McCall system. These are the systems. Okay. So Hoyer system. The Hoyer system is usually adopted for the production of pre-tensioned members on a large scale. Well, if you want to cast the what we can say, more than one members on a single bed, okay, then the Hoyer system is used. Okay, it will not produce that one at a time like that. It will not do like. You can produce 2, 3, 5, 4, 6, whatever the size of bed up to that number of members in a single stroke. So in the Hoyer system. So here they have mentioned the Hoyer system is usually adopted for the production of pre-tensioned members on a large scale. The method consists of stretching of the wires between 2 bulkheads. So bulkheads means 2 supports. Okay. I will show you. See, this is the bulkheads. This is the casting bed. Okay. Then this is the jack at one end. Other end it is tied. And I have shown here 3 beams. 3 beams kept and 1 tendon is passed through all the beams. This is the arrangement. So here 3 beams shown are here. They have shown 3 beams. You can show more beams. Okay. So here I will read this. The method is consist of stretching of the wires between the 2 bulkheads at a large distance apart. The concrete is now poured so that the number of beams can be produced in one line. After the concrete has hardened, the wires are released from the bulkhead. The wires between 2 different units of the beams are also cut off. Okay. The pre-stress is transferred to the concrete through the bond action between it. Same आहे, फक्त काय आहे, आता वेळ आपण एका बीम साठी बघत होते, the number of beams आहे. By the using this jack, you tension these tendons, and here it is attached. After the tensioning, you release it from the bulkheads. Then you cut down this from these points. We cut down it. Okay, and then that pre-stress is getting transferred to the concrete. So this is the Hoyer system. Okay. Okay, with this note now, today we will stop over here. I think the time is over, or still the time is there? Anybody can reply me fast? Okay. So in the next lecture, we will see the further part, and this unit will, we can say, it will be over in the next lecture. So in the next lecture itself, we will go for the next unit. Okay. So I will take the screenshots now. Please wait. Okay. So now next is, I think, competitive exam class is there. That is also I am going to conduct. So within 5 minutes we will meet again.